Silence. A deathly silence blanketed the entire venue. When the elderly man in the tang suit knelt in front of Dustin, everyone was left dumbfounded. No one could have imagined that the mighty figure who had forced even Hunter Anderson to bow and scrape would now kneel so submissively before Dustin. His demeanor was like that of a servant meeting his master. What the hell was going on? Chris Nolan was frozen in place, his face full of disbelief. He had always thought Dustin was just incredibly skilled in combat, but now it turned out the man had a background that defied all logic. Wasn't Hunter Anderson already high and mighty? But even he had to bow deeply in front of this elder in a tang suit. And this elder? An absolute titan in his own right. Yet he still dropped to his knees in front of Dustin. This was nothing short of a dimensional blowout. From this alone, it was clear how terrifying the background of the Dustin he had always looked down on truly was. No, impossible! This can't be real! Edward Spanner was utterly paralyzed with fear. From the moment the elder knelt down, his mind had suffered a tremendous shock. His last glimmer of hope was completely shattered in an instant. All that remained was despair and terror. Who would have thought? The savior he had been relying on was actually Dustin's servant. Damn it! Just what kind of monster had he provoked? Unlike Chris Nolan and Edward Spanner, Travis Spanner had already resigned himself to death. From the moment he learned Dustin's identity, he knew he wouldn't be leaving alive today. If he dared to resist, it wouldn't just be him who died, it would be his entire family. Young master. 10 years. I've finally found you. The man in the tang suit, known as Uncle Fook, knelt on the ground, tears streaming down his aged face. He didn't care at all about the stares from those around him. But Dustin's expression was cold and indifferent, as if he were looking at a stranger. Get lost! With those two words, Dustin brushed past Uncle Fook and walked straight up to Edward Spanner. At that moment, his murderous aura surged. Don't kill me! I'm begging you, please don't kill me! I'll do anything, just spare my life! Edward Spanner was so frightened he practically wet himself, kowtowing and begging desperately. Not killing you wouldn't even begin to satisfy my rage! Dustin stepped forward and crushed Edward's chest with a single stomp. Edward's eyes went wide with fear and disbelief, dying with deep resentment and terror. He truly died with his eyes open. Young Master Dustin! I'm willing to die to atone for my sins! I only beg that you spare my innocent subordinates. When Dustin turned his gaze toward them, Travis Spanner and his men knew their end had come. Without hesitation, they drew their knives and slit their own throats. At that moment, they no longer had the right to bargain. As he looked at the bodies on the ground, Dustin said nothing and simply carried Dahlia away. Sigh. Uncle Fook let out a long sigh, his expression extremely complicated. He had finally found the young master, but who knew how long it would take for that knot in his heart to unravel? Uncle Fook, how should we handle this matter? Hunter Anderson asked respectfully with his head lowered. Before this old man, his identity and status were as fragile as paper, easily torn to shreds. Silence all information. Eliminate anyone connected to this event, Uncle Fook said calmly. His words were light, but they made Hunter's heart race with fear. He knew many people were going to suffer for this. Don't kill me! I'm Dustin's friend. At this moment, Chris Nolan, who had been hiding the whole time, ran out in a panic. He had seen the black-armored elites preparing to set fire to the building. Friend? Uncle Fook looked him over. Yes. We're super close. We even ate together once. Chris nodded like a pecking chick, desperate to save his life. Is that so? Then I'll trouble you to help persuade the young master to return home as soon as possible. Uncle Fook's tone softened. Yes, I promise I'll do my best to convince him, Chris assured immediately. Someone, give this gentleman a ride. Uncle Fook gestured. No. I can walk back myself. Chris waved frantically, terrified. His legs were already like jelly. How could he dare ride with them? Very well. Suit yourself. Uncle Fook didn't insist, and with a wave of his hand, the guards withdrew. Farewell. Chris fled like his life depended on it. Thank God he had a quick wit. He'd barely managed to save his skin, but Swinton was no longer safe for him. He needed to get some money together and leave immediately. Uncle Fook, I don't think that man is trustworthy, Hunter said respectfully. It doesn't matter. He's just an ant. Whether he lives or dies is irrelevant, Uncle Fook replied indifferently. Of course, he knew Chris was lying, but he didn't dare take the risk. If he did anything to displease the young master, even slightly, he would become a sinner to the entire Rhys family. Half an hour later, inside the Peace Medical Center, looking at the bloody wounds on Dahlia's body, Dustin felt his heart wrench. Even though they were divorced, 3 years of love couldn't be severed so easily. Sometimes, emotions simply couldn't be suppressed. Dustin took a deep breath, removed Dahlia's clothes, and carefully began cleaning her wounds. Even though his movements were gentle, her unconscious body would still twitch at certain injuries. He could only be even more careful. Once the wounds were cleaned, he disinfected them, applied medicine, and bandaged her. Each step was meticulous. After everything was done, Dustin finally let out a long breath. Unknowingly, sweat had covered his forehead. Just as he was about to stand and leave, a delicate hand suddenly reached out and grabbed his wrist. Don't go! Don't leave me! In her unconscious state, Dahlia seemed to be trapped in a nightmare. Her eyes flickered behind closed lids as she murmured over and over. Her emotions were visibly agitated. I'm not leaving. I'll stay right here with you. Dustin gently sat down beside her and held her hand. Dustin, don't go! As if finding a sense of security, Dahlia's voice grew softer, and her agitation gradually faded. But she kept holding his hand tightly, refusing to let go. I'm sorry! Feeling the strength in her grip, Dustin couldn't help but ache inside. Dahlia had never shown weakness before him. She had always been the image of a powerful woman. But today, he finally realized, this cold, icy CO was, at the end of the day, just a fragile woman who needed to be protected.
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to never leave, and now you're